Today, I have a champion beside me. Today's guest is Liam Plunkett. Liam, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Just a quick intro about you. First of all, Liam and I have to know each other the last few months. Believe it or not, we are in Philadelphia. We're not in England.
Right.
So we're sitting in Philadelphia. Liam Plunkett, for people who don't know, a champion in the world of cricket. He's won an amazing World Cup in 2019 for his country, England.
Yeah.
And a number of other accomplishments. He is in Philadelphia. He's actually also doing a lot of coaching around the world and also in the US for youth, adults, and all kinds of coaching. Liam is now almost a native of Westchester now, a little bit. With his wife, we'll jump into that a little bit. But other than being a world champion, also an entrepreneur, incredible guy. Welcome, Liam.
No, thanks for having me. Speaking about cricket, sat here with you in the studio in Philadelphia, it's kind of surreal, right? Even speaking about cricket in Philadelphia, the ability that I'm coaching cricket and involved in cricket is still surreal for me.
Yeah.
16, 17 years ago when I first met my wife, who's from Philly, I met her in London. And if someone told me that in 17 years' time, I'd be living here working in cricket, I wouldn't have believed you. So it's cool to talk about cricket with you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. So we'll talk cricket. We'll talk leadership, which is the focus, of this podcast as well. And cricket as a team sport, and also an individual sport at the same time, a combination. First of all, let's start with you as a person, right? So from Middlesbrough to Durham, Yorkshire, England, the world of cricket in the US, IPL, one of those days. Take us through the journey from a little Liam playing cricket to now in the heart of Philadelphia, which was the central part of cricket in the world back in the 1800s. So take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'll remember every single thing, but I can give you a bit of an outline of kind of my career and my trajectory from being a kid up until sitting here speaking with you. Middlesbrough, the northeast of England. My family loved cricket. My dad was a good club cricketer, a fast bowler, 6'6", running, used to bowl big in-swingers, very successful on the amateur circuit. So we lived and breathed cricket as a family. My mum used to do the tees or do the scoring. My sister used to love the cricket. She also played cricket. So it kind of stemmed from watching my father play and having that community. I used to play alongside the games. When he was playing, I'd be in the nets with the kids or finding any little empty space where I could play cricket. And I kind of became addicted to cricket. I loved that kind of community, what cricket brought in terms of other families and friends. And that was your weekend set all summer. That was your weekend. You lived and breathed cricket. And I kind of became a decent cricketer at a very young age. I think I played my first adult game when I was 8 years old. Someone didn't turn up, and I ended up playing against adults when I was 8, which was kind of cool to do that. 13-year-old, 14-year-old, I kind of became decent in that space in terms of amateur. I played for Mass Cricket Club, then also went to Middlesbrough Cricket Club, kind of dominant in the leagues. And when I was 16, I got picked up by Durham. 15, 16, I joined Durham Cricket Academy with a coach called Jeff Cook. He's from Middlesbrough himself, a northern guy. Very old school in the way he coached, but he was great for me. Kind of instilled that hard work. You have to put hard work in to be successful, and that kind of stuck with me. Be on time, always work hard. But up until that point, I never really thought about earning money playing cricket. I just turned up and played for fun, and I remember getting paid the first time. It wasn't a big amount, but the fact that I got paid to play a sport I love was crazy to me. And it moved kind of quickly from then. You went from playing club cricket in Middlesbrough and Mask. You signed for Durham on an academy contract, and you represent that academy every Saturday. The cricket team would Durham Cricket would put an academy team in the leagues on a Saturday, and you play club cricket, but you train like a pro during the week. And then 16, 17, I grew. I went from being not that tall to 6 foot, what I am now, and started bowling quick. All of a sudden, I was playing for Durham first team, professional, played my first game. I think my first class game was against a university team, but my first game for Durham was against Yorkshire, my hero Darren Goff. I managed to get 5 wickets in that game. I got Yuvraj Singh out, which was a big thing at that point. Obviously a great cricketer. And it was very quick from there, playing for Durham, successful over a couple of years. I showed that I had some talent, played professional cricket, got picked up for England in 2005 after they won the Ashes. Obviously, that was a massive thing in the UK and in England with Freddie and Harmison and KP. All eyes were on English cricket again. They brought the love back. It was kind of stagnated for a little bit. But yeah, 2005, cricket was huge. There was an injury to Simon Jones, a very good bowler, and then I managed to get picked up for that tour of Pakistan 2005. And yeah, things moved on there. I was in and out of the England team whilst I was playing for Durham. Wasn't too consistent, but tried to work hard. And yeah, won trophies with Durham, very successful team. I'm going through it here, a bit of a roller coaster, but I'm trying to give an outline of how I sort of ebbed and flowed through my career. So played for England, in and out, won championships with Durham. A very strong team, very well put together team. I was at an age where you're learning from everyone. You've got a lot of older professionals around you who you pick up little tidbits from each player. I like this is what he does it really well. I like what he does, and I sort of like put that together. Later on in my career, I sort of went through a bit of a struggle with a bit of form. I was away from the England team, wasn't performing too well, in and out the Durham team, and then it sort of came up to end of my contract, and I decided to give Yorkshire a trial. Yorkshire were great at the time. They had Jason Gillespie, the Australian fast bowler, very good guy. And he was good for bowlers because he was a bowler. So sometimes he'd let you sleep in, come to the game a little bit late when we're batting. But I kind of got the love back for cricket at that point, and I started bowling really fast with encouragement from him and the Yorkshire sort of setup. And I got back to the England squad again. But yeah, Yorkshire was good. 6 years at Yorkshire, amazing as well. We won another 2 championships. So I won 2 with Durham and then 2 with Yorkshire. The first 2 I was very young. The second 2 when I was at Yorkshire, I was one of the older players. So it was nice to be the leader in terms of maybe not your words, but the way what you did on the field. You put in the hard work. You have slight injuries, but you know you can work through that and you can show the youngsters how you go about stuff. I kind of really liked that phase at Yorkshire. I thought it was a great squad, and yeah, I really liked that. In and out of the England side again at that point. But then it kind of came to 2015-16, I think. Don't quote me on it. Got back into the test team after bowling really quick. Had a nice spell in the test environment. Managed to get my first 5-fer. I think I got a 50. And yeah, I felt like I was in a good spot. In and out a little bit, but then got picked for the white ball team. In terms of the white ball, Owen Morgan was captain. That was 2015-16. And at that point, all of the teams sort of came together. We had these youngsters coming through like Ben Stokes, Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow. And for that 4 or 5 years, it was the best team on the planet at that point. We were number 1 in the world. We were traveling the world, beating India at home, away, South Africa, Australia. And we got into a roll. We got beat in a T20 World Cup final in Calcutta by the West Indies, which was an amazing game. Brathwaite hit Ben Stokes for 6s towards the back end there. But actually, obviously, very disappointed. We flew back from India, very disappointed, but we kind of learned from it. No one was really upset. It was like, listen, we've got work to do. It was a different format because it was T20 to ODI cricket, but we kind of bounced back. And then obviously the ODI cricket, we got better and better and better, which led to the World Cup final 2019. Which was an amazing game. It was in the UK. It was in the home of cricket, which was Lords, and it went down to a super over. So I guess if you don't know cricket, the game was tied at the end of the day. Then we went, each team had to face 6 balls, 6 pitches, and kind of as a tie again, but England got the nod. So that was the last time I played for England, a World Cup final, which was amazing. At that point, I was with Surrey, but I then got a phone call from USA. It was Major League Cricket, and they sort of like threw an idea out there. This is what we're looking to do, and I was at a point where this sounds amazing. My wife's from America, and yeah, so I moved across. The last 3 years, I've been playing Major League Cricket for the Unicorns, San Francisco. Played a bit of minor league cricket for the Philadelphians, and yeah, I'm obviously sat here today with I think 1 more year left playing, which is a good and a bad thing. It means I have to try and train again. Yeah. But I'm excited to do it. So yeah, kind of a long-winded answer, but I kind of try to put everything in there.
Yeah, that's a great summary.
Yeah.
Now for people who are new to hearing your story in a way, and you're so grateful as a Philadelphia community that you're here, in the region. For people who don't know fast bowling, Liam, tell me the fastest you've bowled so far in terms of miles per hour.
So far, I mean, I won't get any faster, I'm afraid, at 40 years old. But I think I was maybe 97.3, I think it was. Because I released something on my site the other day, and it was like how I nearly got to 100 miles an hour, which would have been a great green tick, But I think it was, like 97.3. I think the only person above me was Andrew Flintoff. Not in terms of your average speed, but like a one-off delivery. I'm not sure if Mark would surpass that now, but Mark Wood, the fastest ball in the world currently, obviously a good friend of him. And I was always checking over the last few years. He hit 97.1, 97.2. I'd text him to say, you're not quite there, mate. But overall, awesome. he bowls lightning. But yeah, that was the top speed for me.
Yeah, that is awesome. But I think just a context for people, because Liam mentioned white ball cricket, red ball cricket. When he says red ball cricket, that's like the long form of cricket. 5 days, incredible on a war and battle, going on at the same time. Very tough form of cricket.
Yeah.
The white ball is a shorter form of cricket. And you had a couple of things there. Yorkshire, personally for me, back in the 90s, one of my favorite, is Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah.
Was with Yorkshire for a bit. That's how I got to know a little bit of Yorkshire.
You played as a really young kid, right? 16, maybe
something
16
like that.
Years old.
Yeah.
Oh. I remember actually one of the last years at Yorkshire, I'd sort of been in teams. I played against Sachin, but I remember just a training day, Sachin was at the ground, so I think he must have went back to his roots. He was in the UK and he went back to Headingley to visit. So yeah, I mean, the history of Yorkshire cricket is great.
It's awesome. And then you mentioned the World Cup. If people haven't checked out the final of World Cup 2019 moments, I've looked at it probably 100 times. Although my heart is on India, but I think one of my second favorite teams is England and the West Indies. So that was one of your high points as a player playing for England, right? So a lot of things came together. I know personally, following cricket, one of the best teams, you had at that time playing at home. And also you played against an awesome team, which is New Zealand, incredible, bunch of blokes, there. And speaking of impact, you were in and out of the team. You made an impact, significant impact. It was teamwork, but at the same time, take us through like the preparation, right? People know the results of that, right? Obviously, it got tired. It was laser thin edge, of a game.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions, but take us through like that dressing room at Lord's or the dressing room at the Oval. How did you guys prepare, towards like these big games, especially when it comes to fast bowling?
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 or 4 years, I was a consistent in that team. During the World Cup, there was a couple of games where they thought they would do another bowler, they'd go out and out pace. At that time, I was bowling 135, but I was very, in terms of accurate and skillful with it. And they thought we might bring in this person to challenge against the Pakistanis, or it was the Sri Lankan team. And so, yeah, I missed a couple of games in that World Cup, which was, if that's what the team wanted, I was disappointed. It's what Morgan wanted, what the team wanted, but you go away disappointed and you work hard and you get yourself picked and then you perform. Going back to the question, I think that we played so much high quality cricket under immense pressure, even leading up to that. So you're playing ODIs, you're traveling the world, you're playing in India against massive crowds, you're going to Pakistan, huge crowds, or Dubai, or wherever you go, Australia. So you're playing under this pressure. You get used to it as a team. I mean, from the outset, if you're not being involved in like a team sport, or you think it's kind of scary to be involved in that environment where there's like hundreds of thousands of people watching you all the time, it just becomes kind of the norm a little bit. And you have to try and set yourself away and focus on the specific thing you've done. And it's a bit like a lot of the players might get intimidated by doing something different, like coming speaking to a one-on-one like a podcast, or going to an office because they're not used to it. But I think you just get used to that pressure of that kind of situation. And we just became so good at that. That team was very good because even if we won, or we won a series 5-0, they'd still go away and try to get better and better. In terms of leadership, when we talk about that, Owen Morgan was amazing. He was very open. He never got too high. He never got too low. He was always consistent. He would tell you how it is. I remember during that World Cup final, I was about to bowl, and he said to me, "You're the best at what you do. Go ahead and do it." And all of a sudden, it's just like, "Oh, actually, this is what I do."
Yeah.
And I think he knew how to speak to certain people. And as a leader, that's amazing to have that personal connection with everybody. But yeah, I think just that mindset is we're going to win. We're not arrogant, we're not complacent, but we know if we turn up and do the small things well, we can win this competition. The start of the World Cup, I had I kind of thought we could win it. And as I said, it wasn't complacent. I just thought we're so good that we've got 11 people in that team and 15 people in the squad. Everyone in that team can win a game. So I'm like, if we turn up and we're somewhere near our best, there's a massive chance we can win that World Cup.
That's awesome. you mentioned small things. Boy, those small things mattered,
Yeah.
especially in that final. I love the way you talked about Ian Morgan's leadership,
Oh, yeah.
giving you, empowering you to be yourself. And in your introduction, you talked about coaching.
Yep.
Right, coaching. You obviously have teammates you're working with. You probably as a senior player towards the end, like was mentor for others as well. What are the best coaching moments or like nuggets you've gotten that you felt, oh my God, that's so worth it, right?
Yeah, I think during my career, as I said, from 2003 when I started at Durham up until now, I think I've been fortunate to have the right coach at the right time. I feel like if I was maybe 35 and I was with a certain coach, it might not have worked out. But the coach I had at Durham, Jeff Cook, was very old school, very, very hard work, and he was kind of strict like a teacher at some point. Not all the time, relaxed, good, funny and stuff like that, but he was very disciplined because you're a youngster coming through that ranks. I didn't sign there when I was 25 as an adult. He was still a young boy growing up. So he was great, and I felt he was there at the right time. When I moved to Yorkshire when I was maybe 28, 29, I kind of moved there, and the coach Jason Gillespie Senior was like, "Oh, you're a professional cricketer. You're one of the leaders here," and it treats you kind of different to a youngster. And then obviously when you move to Surrey when I was 34, 35, it's like I am one of the older players. So then you have to set that example, and the coach speaks to you on the same kind of level, and you learn something from each coach, and you take that with you. Like even the coaches through England, Duncan Fletcher, who from Zimbabwe. Kind of very strict, but you kind of appreciate that. Then you're going to go to Peter Moores, very organized, very disciplined. I remember he said to me once is obviously you train hard so then playing becomes easy. That's quite an open statement. A lot of people have said that, but you put the pressure on in training. So when go back. As a coach, you put a lot of pressure on in training, and then in the game, you take the pressure off because all the hard work should have been done. The coaches are there to make you feel comfortable. The team that was very successful, that was led by Owen Morgan. Trevor Bayliss was like a really good sounding board, very good cricket brain, and him and Owen Morgan worked very well together, and he was fairly relaxed. He was just like you could speak to him one-on-one. He wasn't overpowering, but when he spoke, it made sense. A very good cricket brain. So I was very fortunate to have the right coaches at the right time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
On the mental side of things, as you mentioned, there's the wisdom and there's the tactics and, and all that stuff. The preparation happens ahead of time and you are there performing.
Yeah.
Right? Take us through any fast bowler's mind or your mind, right? So when you are 100,000 people cheering for you or against you, depending on where you are. If it's Lords, think about Lords, or if it's Pakistan and India or other places, different. But same thing, you are taking that run up as a fast bowler, and you've done all the work, right? You talked about Ian Morgan saying, "Hey, go deliver."
Yeah.
You're there to do it, right? What's in your mind? Because that run up. Being a recreational fast bowler myself, and you probably have a long run up. It takes a long time. You're going through a lot of things in that run up. What goes through in a typical bowling run up for you?
I think that's the thing. I mean, if you're synced, you don't think about too much, right?
Yeah.
That's in terms of a bowler. When I'm at my best, you're just thinking about where you want to put the ball. Obviously, you need to figure out what's going on with the batsman. I would have done all my research, and if I'm bowling against a certain batsman, I kind of know where his strengths and his weaknesses are. In ODI cricket, I'm like, well, where's the dot ball? Where's the single ball? I know that he's going to punish this, and this. If I deliver a good ball and he hits for me for a boundary, I'm okay with that. That's fine. I've executed. But generally, like when you first start, it's like I want to make sure I'm attacking my run up, and then I'm going to make sure I'm going to attack the pitch, and I'm not really too thinking about anything else. I'm just looking to do what I do. I know if I deliver, which I've been practicing for years and years and years, there's a good chance it's going to come out where I want it to come out. So if I'm thinking about hitting the top of the stumps, bowling cross seam, or I'm going to run up, I'm going to smash this length, and whatever happens there, happens there. I've got my clear path, my clear focus, and this is what I'm going to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And taking that analogy from a business standpoint, right? So unpacking, all the things and summarizing what you said, right? So taking out of that pitch in the ground, from a sports analogy to a business analogy here, right? So there's a lot of preparation ahead of time that you do, habits, coaching, hard work, showing up in time, things, working at the gym, etc. We'll love to jump into those things. And then you have tools and strategies, you know what you're doing. And then especially when it comes to delivery, in your case, fast bowling, delivery. You are there just giving your full self. Forget about like whether that person is going to hit for a four,
Yeah.
etc. Am I summarizing it right?
Yeah, I
Just from a
think
business context.
Yeah, I think if you put in all the hard work, and me kind of get into the business side of things now,
Yeah.
if you feel like you put in the hard work and if the end result doesn't work out, at least you can walk away and say, I've
Yeah.
put everything in,
Mm-hmm.
I've tried my best there, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've done all my preparation, and the end result's the end result. If it wasn't successful, then I go back to the drawing board. Similar business in cricket, I guess.
Yeah.
If I bowl where I wanted to bowl and that batsman's outplayed me, then fair play to him. I'll go back to the drawing board. I'll work on a new strategy, then I'll come back. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of very similar, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think coming from a champion, what are the things as part of FloWise leadership we do, and I do, is bringing that champion mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's even in the business context, is bringing that executive athlete,
Yeah.
mindset in, and the preparation part. I'll double click on that a little bit. So each individual's, in the game has different kinds of preparation,
Yep.
right? And obviously you're a fast bowler, and you're also, play really well down the order, finishing up games, etc. Walk us through how your workouts were before,
Mm-hmm.
and over time how it has developed.
Yep.
And what are the things, like 2 or 3 main ingredients or frameworks that people need to think about, from a training off the field perspective?
Yeah, I mean, my first coach at Durham was a believer in hard work, and he sort of fitness.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to bowl that many overs in the net now. I think you'd be banned. I think they brought in a rule, ECB and stuff. You're only allowed to bowl so many overs in practice. But what that did is it made myself and other guys in that environment, like Steve Harmison and Ben Stokes and Mark Wood, all came through that ranks. It's like we work hard. If you have a slight little niggle, you know your body now because you bowled so much. Sometimes now, if someone gets a slight injury, it's like, oh, I need to not play. But it's learning your body that helped. So yeah, as a youngster, a lot of running, a lot of fitness, and that's always been the good and the bad of me, to be honest with you. I'm still today. I'll probably work a lot. I love the feeling of put myself through like the ringer. I think in my mind, I probably would have been a good endurance athlete or like a CrossFit athlete because I enjoyed that kind of pain of training. But often it's not great in cricket because if you're trying to prepare for a game, you might do something that's going to sort of hinder that performance. So I think I got injured a little bit during my career because I probably worked too hard on it. But yeah, I think training's smarter. So it doesn't have to be longer, it doesn't have to be bigger duration. You can get in and out, be very specific to cricket, and I think that'll make you a better cricketer. When I look at Jimmy Anderson, obviously fit, he's still playing now for Lancashire, but he's not one who's going to go in there and start bench pressing for the sake of it. He's going to go in there and do what he needs to do to make him the best bowler in the world. I think looking back at it, maybe I would have done that, but also I feel like I'm happy with where cricket led me through my sort of desire to train. I feel like kind of filled a little bit of a void. I always want to be busy and doing stuff, so I'd rather be doing that than something else. Towards the back end of my career, I took up meditation a lot, especially before the World Cup, probably 2 years leading up to the World Cup. So that kind of helped me. So when I was kind of busy-minded, want to go to the gym, maybe I'll just step away and do 10, 15 minutes of meditation, and that kind of fills that void of me going to the gym, Yoga a little bit as well, and as you see, the modern day athlete, LeBron James and Cristiano Ronaldo, and Pilates and yoga and meditation, it's there for a reason. It does work. So you can get a great session from doing yoga or obviously Pilates, and that kind of puts you in a better place before the game. You're not too tired.
That's awesome. So tell me about your meditation practice a little bit, right? So you said 10, 15 minutes. Boy, it was really impactful. But in the World Cup final, especially, I'm sure in like test matches and stuff, because you're going through a lot of like hard work, on the field and off the field. How did you start first, and then how has it evolved? When and where do you use? How's your routine right now?
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, I was fairly outgoing. Get on with everyone. I don't mind being anywhere, traveling and stuff. And then for some reason, I think it was because of my stuff was going on. My mum and dad. My mum had cancer. My dad went through a kidney transplant, liver transplant, and all of a sudden it's like I had an anxiety, and I didn't know what that was. An anxiety attack, and I was like, well, this is kind of strange. And then I kind of spoke to someone, a sports psychologist, who's been great for me, and they suggested meditation. And I just downloaded the Headspace app, which is obviously well known now, and I just started ticking away with that. So I was doing 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Started reading more about it. And that kind of put me in a good kind of flow state, right? That's what you think about. It put me in a calm space, and that helps me now. I kind of see it a bit like cricket. If you don't go to the nets, you're not going to get better. If you don't practice, you're not going to get better. So I'll kind of go through sort of areas where I'll do a couple of weeks of meditation and then slip off for a week, but I'll always go back to it. If I feel like that anxiety is building up a little bit, I just give myself a 10-minute headspace, sit down,
That's awesome. A reset.
Yeah.
Sit down. So I think on the business side, as well, right? Whether it's coaching or my other work, I use not only the meditation a lot, but I also use other breathing patterns. I mean, I could see, especially when you're huffing and puffing, etc. On the field. Tell me how you, apart from applying meditation as just generally a pause for general mental health, space, how have you used it on the field?
I mean, I've never really, to be honest with you, on the field, that's what I live and breathe.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever felt like, apart from like you're going to bowl at Dhoni and he's going to smack you for six, but that's just part and parcel of the game. Yeah. I don't think I've ever felt that in the game.
Gotcha.
I feel like I'm so trained in that area that even if I had anxiety away from cricket, if I stepped on the pitch, I never had it.
That's your meditation. That's your flow.
Yeah,
that's your flow in a way.
I can run and I can express myself as a fast bowler. I can release all this energy and I can try and make an impact on the game and feel good about myself. So I think it was just, I never really had that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's people might be the opposite, right? When you're by yourself, you feel calm and collective.
Yeah.
Sometimes the other way around for me, I felt calm and collective in front of 30,000 people, which is strange.
That's your arena. You belong there.
Man in the arena, right?
Yeah.
So
that's really interesting. So I'm going to pivot a little bit, right? So talk about some interesting low moments from my perspective, right? There are probably other things, but and also high moments. And I want to understand how you handle both of them, right? So I remember, for context, one of the 2015 World Cup in India. This was the short form T20 World Cup. England facing the West Indies. The West Indies actually beat India in the semifinals. India was also looking good, and the West Indies won over towards the end. I remember the name that particular famous commentary, and we'll put it as a link in the in the podcast as well. That must be heartbreaking for the team. I know for certain individuals, etc. And you mentioned in the intro, you started from there, right? And then you guys rebuilt and won the World Cup. Tell us how, as leaders, right? You were one of the senior members holding the team. How did you process that?
I think, well, you finished and then you're on a plane back to the UK the day after. So then people might process it different.
Yeah.
You're going back straight into cricket. So you don't have a time to breathe. I mean, I went from the World Cup final to playing a 4-day game maybe the week after.
Yeah.
Or like maybe 10 days after. Yeah. So you have to put yourself back into company. Yeah, you have to. I mean, obviously you're disappointed, but my kind of thought process is maybe good or bad, but it's a game of cricket, right? Like amazing to play a World Cup final, but it's a game of cricket.
Yeah.
And I think that's what someone said to me originally when I did have anxiety. It's like, it's cricket. You can still be a good bloke, a good son, a good brother. Like that puts things in perspective, right? So it's just a game of cricket. Go out and start again. Yeah. And that's kind of what we did. We were disappointed, but probably had a glass of wine and then we were back at it the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great perspective, and it's a very matured approach. And going to the high moments, right? Obviously the World Cup, or like the six you hit, 5-0 wins against teams. Obviously, tell us, after the celebration, and you are professional cricketers, you have a plane to catch somewhere, and playing again. How do you rejoice those moments? And what would love to hear your perspective, on that.
Yeah, it's funny. It was easier to get back in normality after losing the World Cup than to win the World Cup. I think after winning the World Cup, it's something you aim for all of your life. When you're a child in your garden and you're playing, and you throw the ball against the wall and you have to take this diving catch to win the World Cup. Like you kind of play games with yourself and you do it with your friends. And then at the moment when you win the World Cup, it's like, well, now what? What do we do now? So it actually the celebrations were great, and we kind of brought England together again, a bit like the Ashes 2005. It was amazing to win the game in a super over at the home of cricket in the UK with the fans behind us. After not a lucky win because we had 4 or 5 years of being the best in the world. It's like this was an amazing team and the country was excited to watch us.
Yeah.
But it was like going back to county cricket, like from such a high. I actually found that harder. I think I seeked out Andrea, the sports psychologist from Surrey, and I spoke to her and like we kind of like write this down, let's get it out there and sort of debrief the World Cup. Like I didn't debrief it and I started playing. I'm like, well, there's still so much going on here. And I remember sitting down debriefing it, and then I sort of went back into cricket again. Yeah. So it come at a good time. I enjoyed Surrey, but the fact, I mean, halfway through that season was when I got introduced to, do you want to come and play in America? So then it kind of like back up again.
Back up again.
The fact that I could move to America and live with my wife was an absolute amazing,
That's awesome. So speaking of America,
yeah,
to have launched your own cricket coaching program outside of being a player, also for San Francisco and Philadelphia in the minor leagues. So you are pivoting to the next step of your career in a way, as a coach, as an entrepreneur. Tell us, how has it been and what are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, playing cricket felt like it was easy compared to now, right? It feels like you play cricket, and obviously it's got its hardships as a sportsman, but I feel like the last 3 years I've become an adult a little bit. I was very fortunate. The Professional Cricket Association in the UK look after the players. They gave me I did my master's at Liverpool University through them, which was through strategic leadership. So the 3 years I got here and I was getting up early to do that, but it helped me settle myself. And probably 2 years into it, so it's like a Swiss Army knife. So with Major League, you're going to play Major League Cricket for the Unicorns. You're going to play minor league cricket for Philadelphians. You're going to be a national development coach selector for Major League Cricket. You're going to help local academies build. So it was I was busy doing that. And then over the last year, I sort of came together with a company in the UK, and I said there's a gap here. I think we can coach coaches over here. There's some good coaches here, but I felt there was a gap in the market where we could create a platform, we could introduce people to cricket, we could introduce people to cricket coaching and put a nice system together. A bit like England, Australia. There wasn't really a platform here where a coach could go like a rookie coach, intermediate course, advanced coach. So we wanted to put something together where people could find that and start learning about cricket and becoming a coach. So that's been exciting. And obviously we're going to be doing stuff at Germantown Cricket Club, LPC, and obviously Germantown Cricket Club, which is very exciting. And that's kind of how we kind of met each other, with the same sort of excitement about putting that together. Another kind of role that I'm doing is, it's sort of funny how it worked. I still play with San Francisco, so I'm attached to that Major League team, but my 3-year contract with Major League Cricket finished. As that finished, I sort of became involved with a company called AMHC out of New York. The owner, the CEO there, Adam Hall, came out, spoke to me, and he's like, what's your thoughts on obviously the cricket getting built here? Then all of a sudden he started the Cricket Impact Group, which is amazing. It's sometimes quite hard to get everyone on the same page in America in terms of cricket, Major League, USA cricket, and there's a lot of moving pieces. So we started a Cricket Impact Group. I'm the director of cricket there. So we're looking to host a cricket summit. We're going to launch beach cricket in Barbados with the CPL. So we're going to be sort of bring everyone together for a cricket expo. Let's get everyone in the same room. Let's get in a line, get new sponsors involved, current sponsors. This is the landscape of cricket. So that's been very exciting. That makes me get out of bed, the fact that I'm working with a good group of people there, and we're building something special.
That's awesome. Speaking of building something special in Philadelphia, for folks, I belong to a club called Germantown Cricket Club, one of the oldest cricket club in the world. It's since 1800s. And Liam with LP Cricket, with Germantown Cricket, we have a partnership, and there's a spring coaching program that's starting, and incredibly exciting for the folks, not only in the Philadelphia area, but for people who are traveling, coming here, taking the coaching. We'll put the links, on the podcast notes. But this is really cool. Like you mentioned about the Swiss Army life, right? So a lot of these things, I can imagine a lot of these things are going, it takes multiple things to kind of build from the scratch. Because England, it's culture, right? You grew up, as you mentioned, in a cricket field. That's not the most of the culture here. Like it's cricket is relatively new, very new
Yeah.
sport and a niche sport here,
Yep.
played except in the immigration community. I want to really take a related topic, and we probably talked about this offline back in the day. You recommended me a book, Range.
Yeah.
Right. So Range is a book about several examples. Roger Federer is one of them. Incredibly fascinating how different champions tried different sports
Yeah.
and brought different things, aspects, mental and physical aspects and skill aspects, and eventually found like another a particular sport and
Yeah.
become a champion. Thank you for introducing that to
Nice.
me.
Great book.
So when we think about those kind of like if a kid is playing basketball, baseball, right? Tell me, like when you're doing coaching, especially with kids who are also playing a baseball league, somewhere, right? How do you think about that? Bringing all those skills together, because cricket is a multi,
Yeah.
kind of like sport because you can play different roles, in the sport. So, love to hear your thoughts about the whole range of skills people can have.
Yeah, for me, if a parent comes up to me and says, I want to introduce soccer or basketball, I'm like, absolutely. You're building an athlete. First off, depends what age the kid is. If the kids are coming very young, 5, 6, for me, my aim is for the kids to walk out of that building with a smile on their face. That's what you want them to do. And then you drip feeding cricket into them, and all of a sudden they love it. And I guess when you love something, it feels like you learn a lot better. So that's kind of my aim for the kids. And yeah, as you build up, play as many sports as you can. I did. I tried to play as much as I can, and I was the best at cricket. So kind of that's the direction I took. I would love everyone to play cricket and stick with cricket, but realistically, people are going to be involved in multiple sports, and they're going to go after soccer, after basketball, which is fine. Because at the end of the day, follow what sport you love.
Yeah.
But I think having all round packages of all these different sports will make you a better sportsman in the sport that you go to, sportswoman, sportsman. So yeah, I think it's amazing to dip your toe in every sport. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think as a human being too, right? As a human being too, right? Because you're actually, learning different skills, and you're actually becoming a holistic person in a way. So with that being said, with cricket being a team sport, and I feel like sometimes as an individual, as a bowler, you're also like doing a lot of individual contribution, but you're playing for the team, for the team's cause, community cause, and in your case, country, right, and franchise teams, etc. What have you learned on the team environment, right? But as an entrepreneur and a businessman, you would apply, either you would or like as a mentor to someone. What would you say to from the business community around some of the key elements of a good, solid team?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the most successful, it's about everyone buys into it. Everyone's willing to turn up and do the dirty work, the hard work, where no one's watching you, especially as a sportsman. The hours and hours you practice, the amount you put your body through in terms of your stress fractures and stuff, but you're willing to put yourself on the line for your teammates. And I think that's the best teams I've been involved with. Everyone wants to get better every single day. Even though you take defeats and you struggle and you go back and you have to learn and bounce back. Same, I mean, I'm new to sort of like the business side of things. And with the Cricket Impact Group, it's the first time I've been involved in like that business where I'm turning up. There's an office, I'm on calls every day. But it's like, what can I bring to that group as sort of an ex-sportsman, still a sportsman, is okay, I can be positive. That's something I always used to be. I used to hate it as a cricketer when you have other guys turning up the day before a game and telling you you're tired. Like, I hate the fact that, well, I don't care if you're tired. Like, we have to get on the pitch and perform. So that's what I'd like to bring. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna collaborate. So kind of that's what I think would help business. I think it's a good thing if you've got people who are ex-sportsmen but have that work ethic and want to go into business. I think it's a great thing. But also, you need to realize I'm not a professional in business. Like I'm starting off. It's brand new to me. In cricket, you never like. There's always something you can learn. But I feel like the last 20 years I've become good at it. That's been my life in terms of my work, and I feel like I know a lot more than the majority of people. In business, you leave your ego at your door and you reset and you learn from people around you. And obviously, you can sort of bring the sports side into that environment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. it's almost like, summarizing that, you professional, skilled in that area, right? It's almost like business. Obviously, there's like a skill involved,
Yeah.
etc. And then all the aspects that you mentioned, you can bring the aspects of team environment, hard work, trust with each other, building the team environment into the business side, and vice versa. Both are interchangeable in a way. So Liam, as part of FloWise leadership, one of the reason I coined the word FloWise is obviously the impact of the flow states, and also the wisdom. Obviously, applying that framework into the leadership space and executives and founders, etc. When you think about FloWise as a term, what do you think about?
So you've coined FloWise. That's your. Well, I'm just thinking as you're speaking to me there. When I'm at the top of my run up and I'm bowling my fastest and the best, that's exactly how I feel. I mean, that's a flow state. You're not thinking of anything like that. FloWise, running up. Sometimes when I bowl my fastest, it feels like I'm in like a haze. Everything's just like slow motion. I'm in such a flow. And when I'm about to deliver the ball, it's like a lightning bolt. I just fire it. Everything feels so easy. The days you struggle, I do not feel in flow at all. It feels like a robotic movement and it doesn't feel comfortable. But the days when I'm at my best, where everything's synced in, whether it's my sleep, my preparation, I've got good teammates, we're all buying in. And then I find that flow state, like that's the best feeling you have. And I think it comes from the hard work and respecting others around you and putting in the graft and practice. And it comes down to that point. And that kind of, I feel like it's the world rewarding you for that period of putting in all the graft, right?
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. As a end to this podcast, right? One question: what would you say to the coaches, upcoming coaches? You have your own team, and you're building a coaching community. What would you say to the coaches? From all the wisdom that you were, learned from all your coaches, right, over the years. What are a couple of things that you would say to them or advise them as the foundation for them to kind of like go out there, build a great community, build great kids, etc. Not only here in the US, but also all around the world.
I think a few things. It's like you want people to have fun at the end of the day, and I think people do say this. It's like, oh, work hard. I'm like, that should be a given. It's like, as a coach, you are working hard. That's you turning up and you're doing your job. I think you should seek out to improve all the time. You should go away and you should look at all the YouTube videos. You should read the coaching manuals and pick up clips to improve yourself. Taking out all the information, but then as a coach, you come up with your own methods of putting that out there. That's what I think the best coaches do. The best coaches I've worked with are not alike. Certain tiny things, but they've got their own flair on stuff. They've got all this information and then they've put it out themselves. That's kind of what I would advise. Be a good person, make people enjoy it, seek out learnings, improve with that, and then delivering your own method.
Excellent. Liam, it's incredible to have you as part of the podcast. We're so excited. You're the community and really excited for the cricket proliferation in the US and in the world. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.